Tonight we cover a story that would have seemed unthinkable just a few years ago. Toyota and Honda are dramatically scaling back their US operations. For decades, these brands were woven into the fabric of American life, employing hundreds of thousands and anchoring communities across the Midwest and South. Now that era is ending. The company's recent announcements have sent shockwaves through the industry and left workers, dealers, and politicians scrambling for answers. This isn't just about business, it's about a seismic shift in the global economy and the future of Made in America. What led to this moment? We'll break down the history, the economic and political pressures, and the consequences for millions of Americans. We'll hear from factory workers, analyze the impact on the US economy, and explore the fierce international competition shaping the future of transportation. The story begins with quiet, calculated decisions in distant boardrooms, driven by trade tensions, technological disruption, and a high-stakes bet on the future of the automobile. Is the electric vehicle revolution leaving these legacy giants behind, or are deeper geopolitical forces at play? Join us as we investigate the auto shock shaking America and what it means for you. The pullback of Toyota and Honda is more than a business headline. It's a threat to the American economy. These companies are massive employers, and for every assembly line job, up to 9 more exist in the local economy. When a major plant scales back, entire towns can be devastated almost overnight. Globally, this signals a realignment. The US is no longer the world's most coveted auto market. The shift could alter supply chains, redirect trillions in investment, and change the balance of economic power. For consumers, expect fewer choices and higher prices as local production drops. The days of fierce competition and generous incentives may be ending. Parts availability and service for millions of Toyota and Honda owners could suffer. Politically, the reduction is a crisis, raising tough questions about trade policy and putting pressure on Washington to respond. The retreat is not just economic, it's a political flashpoint. To grasp the magnitude of today's news, we need to look back. In the 1970s, amid an oil crisis, Toyota and Honda offered Americans smaller, fuel-efficient, and reliable cars, winning over skeptical buyers. By the 1980s, they began building cars in the US, creating thousands of jobs and challenging what it meant to be an American car. Their innovative manufacturing techniques forced Detroit's Big Three to adapt, raising industry standards. Non-union Japanese plants changed labor dynamics, pressuring the United Auto Workers and reshaping industrial relations. Over decades, their US footprint grew into a vast network of factories and research centers. States competed fiercely for their investments, offering tax breaks and incentives. Toyota and Honda became integral to the American manufacturing story, producing millions of top-selling vehicles. Their retreat now feels like a break in that shared history. The trust and stability they represented are suddenly in question. The American auto landscape will never be the same. The first major sign came in July 2025. Honda announced it would end Accord production in Ohio after over 40 years. The message was clear: America was no longer a top priority for their traditional lineup. Weeks later, Toyota announced a 40% production cut at its Kentucky and Indiana plants, impacting the Camry and Highlander. The reason: supply chain vulnerabilities, tough US regulations, and escalating tariffs on imported components. The US push for rapid EV adoption and strict emission standards strained companies that favored a gradual transition. Retooling factories for EVs was costly and risky, especially with uncertain demand and infrastructure. Instead, Toyota and Honda consolidated EV development in regions with more supportive policies. The America First policy and tariffs made US production unsustainable. The seamless global supply chain that once made American manufacturing affordable was broken. Executives felt trapped by conflicting demands. Build EVs now, but without the necessary global components. The result? A strategic retreat from the heart of American manufacturing. The numbers reveal the scale of this pullback. In 2023, Toyota and Honda produced over 2.5 million vehicles in the US, nearly 15% of all cars made here. The announced cuts will remove about 1 million units of annual capacity, a massive void. Layoffs will hit over 15,000 direct manufacturing jobs, but the total job loss could exceed 120,000 across the supply chain. These were high-paying jobs supporting middle-class families for generations. The cutbacks will carve a path of economic distress through the Midwest and South. Billions in planned investments for plant upgrades and EV retooling are now frozen or redirected overseas. America's reputation as a stable place for foreign investment is taking a hit. Toyota and Honda's combined U.S. market share, around 25%, will erode as supply drops. Domestic automakers may benefit briefly, but South Korean and Chinese competitors are poised to fill the gap. The U.S. auto market's competitive landscape is being redrawn in real time. The consequences will ripple for years. Beyond the numbers, this is a human story. In towns like Georgetown, Kentucky and Marysville, Ohio, the plants are the community's lifeblood. David, a 25-year Toyota veteran, says, "This job put my kids through college. Now 40% of us might be gone. What's next for a man in his 50s? Local businesses like Maria's Diner in Alabama are already feeling the pain. Empty tables, anxious customers, and fears of closure. The pullback breaks a social contract. Decades of loyalty and stability, now replaced by uncertainty and betrayal. Workers who trusted the company now face layoffs decided in distant boardrooms. Younger employees are rethinking their futures, turning to retraining in other industries. The era of stable, high-paying factory work is fading. The social fabric of these towns, built on pride in making world-class cars, is fraying. The question is no longer just about jobs, but about identity and the future of entire communities. The sense of loss is profound. The American dream for many is being rewritten. The search for a new path has begun. The retreat of Toyota and Honda has ignited a political firestorm in Washington. Critics say aggressive tariffs and rigid EV mandates have backfired, driving away crucial foreign investment. "We were promised a manufacturing renaissance. Instead, we got pink slips," declared one senator. The White House is scrambling, considering subsidies and a rollback of tariffs to stem the exodus. But reversing course would be a major political climb down, especially in an election year. The pullback is straining U.S.-Japan relations, with Japanese officials questioning America's reliability as a business partner. State and local governments are caught in the middle, facing budget shortfalls and unemployment crises. Governors are lobbying for federal aid and racing to attract new industries. Replacing anchor employers like Toyota or Honda is a monumental challenge. The competition for new factories, especially in EVs and batteries, is fierce. The stakes for communities and the nation could not be higher. Industry analysts agree. Toyota and Honda's moves are part of a painful global transition. The old model of globalized production is breaking down. Car makers are shifting to regional supply chains. Toyota and Honda now see the U.S. as too volatile for large-scale manufacturing, focusing instead on Asia. The U.S. push for rapid electrification favors all-in EV players like Tesla and the Big Three, but leaves hybrid-heavy companies like Toyota and Honda at a disadvantage. For American buyers, expect fewer choices and higher prices for reliable, affordable sedans and SUVs. The market is splitting high-end EVs on one side, shrinking and pricier combustion models on the other. New players, especially from China, may seize the opportunity to enter the U.S. market. The UAW's influence could grow as non-union Japanese plants scale back, raising labor costs for domestic automakers. The entire structure of the American auto industry is in flux. The outcome is uncertain, but the days of Japanese efficiency dominating the U.S. market are ending. The next chapter will be defined by new competitors, new technologies, and new rules. The American car market is entering uncharted territory. The only certainty is change. The retreat of Toyota and Honda is a wake-up call for America. Manufacturing jobs and foreign investment can no longer be taken for granted. This is a moment of reckoning for our industrial strategy and trade policies. The empty factories and anxious communities are the real-world result of decisions made in Washington and Tokyo. The car buying experience will change. Higher prices, fewer familiar models, and a new era of uncertainty. The open road, long a symbol of American freedom, is now at the center of an economic storm. The choices made in the coming months will determine if this is the start of decline or a catalyst for renewal. It's a conversation for all of us, about the future of work, industry, and the American dream. What path will we choose? The future of American industry depends on it.